Yes, it must have been taken from outside the house. Okay, I'll bring the documents down tomorrow. All right, thanks very much. Bye-bye. You were right. It's been written off.
No sign of the driver?
None. What is it, Steve?
What time did you get over here this evening?
About an hour ago. Why? Why'd you ask?
I want to know I'm wrong to worry about who was driving that car.
You suspect me? I'm on trial.
Nobody said anything about being on trial.
Well, what would you call it? You look at me and you don't know.
Every part of me tells me that you're still you. But I saw the car. It was a burning wreck. Your car. What am I supposed to do? Shrug my shoulders and laugh at the coincidence?
No. Of course it isn't a coincidence. It's a setup. Gates has arranged it.
What for?
Well, for this. We don't trust each other anymore, and he knows that's our only strength.
I want to trust you. I really do.
But? I'm sorry. That's not good enough.
Oxygen. Mr. Boyd. Philip, can you hear me?
Blood pressure's dropping. It's really low.
Internal hemorrhage.
How long to the hospital, Arlene?
About 10 minutes.
BP's really getting low.
Okay, let's put a line up.
Nothing in your mother's behavior that night indicated that she was likely to have taken her own life.
If there had been anything at all, then I wouldn't have left her for a moment.
You mentioned a phone call which you feel may have disturbed her.
Yes. Yes, she had to. She had two visitors. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Put your head up.
We'll adjourn for 30 minutes.
Charge, stand clear, shocking. Check pulse.
No pulse.
Still in VF. Charge 200. Stand clear, shocking. Still VF. He's in a systolic pattern.
Lost him. We've lost him.
But how?
Gates.
Elizabeth Madigan was elderly and infirm, and undoubtedly was no longer capable of indicating her basic needs. The only clue that she may have been in some distress on the day of her death was her increasingly bizarre and disturbed behavior. My verdict is suicide while being of unsound mind.
Are you going to right?
Yes.
All right.
See the bleeding?
Yes, quite a show.
So one of them must have come to grief. If we can find out who, it gives us another way in.
What are you so excited about, Steve? The fact that Mary Madigan bled or that I didn't?
According to paramedics, Mr. Boyd showed no sign of any serious external injuries. He was an experienced light aircraft pilot. It was a routine crash landing. He banged his head, felt groggy, then fell unconscious, and in the ambulance he suffered a sudden deterioration.
And they had no idea why?
Well, it's my job, not theirs. I'll send you a full autopsy report.
It won't be necessary. The air crash involved a Ministry of Defence plane. The post-mortem is now a matter for Central Ops. We should be in charge of any autopsy.
And do you have the necessary authorization to remove Philip Boyd's remains?
I can't quite believe that we're sitting here arguing over a corpse like two butchers at a meat market.
Mr. Boyd died in an ambulance on his way to hospital. And unless you have a specific order from the Home Office, then I'm sorry, but he stays here.
I'm doing you a favour.
Thank you. I can do without your favors, Chief Superintendent.
I don't think you quite appreciate what you're getting into here. Philip Boyd was an important person.
You can be sure I shall treat him with the respect he deserves.
And when the news gets out that a chief executive of the Nuclear Research Institute died because of negligence and that there was an attempted cover-up by the pathologist...
My findings will be a matter of public record. Keeping secrets isn't something that corpses are good at. The accident victim is a male of 42 years, Philip Boyd. Since death, rigor has set in, and the victim is unusually discolored. His skin is purple, indicating internal bleeding. Other than that, there are no indications on his head or body as the cause of death. No lesions, no puncture wounds, no swelling to the front or back of the cranium. Simon. God.
In New York today, the new Japanese representative to the United Nations collapsed at a charity breakfast. His inaugural speech was cut short after he suffered a severe nosebleed and dizziness. 3 other members of the Security Council, including one top aide to the Russian president, suffered the same symptoms. An investigation is underway.
Listen.
Hello.
I was just going to call you. Have you heard the news?
Yes, earlier.
The nosebleeds would work out about the same time as Mary Madigan.
Madigan in the coroner's court, I know.
So, what triggered it? Another death?
Probably. Listen, we know that Elizabeth Madigan's death weakened Gates and Leonard for a few moments, even though she was at the bottom of their pile. Now, if we can get closer to the top, it might have a more devastating effect.
Yeah, or they might be better equipped to resist it.
Perhaps I'd better come in.
Yeah. I should better had.
An unusual and extreme internal deterioration has occurred since death.
You can say that again.
Pancreas, liver, and kidneys remain recognizable but are severely burnt. I must emphasize that this is not the damage associated with fire victims. The internal organs appear to have slowly cooked from the inside. Internal temperature?
There must be something wrong with this thermometer.
Reading?
49 degrees.
The deceased's internal body temperature has risen 12 degrees Celsius since death.
You don't have to tell me if you don't want to.
I want to. It's important. When I was in Zaire, it was my 20th assignment in 10 years. I'd taken a picture of a mother cradling her dead baby in her arms. When she saw the camera, she just flew at me. In a rage of grief and anger, and when I got back, I didn't want to use the picture. I felt it was wrong.
Why then? You must have intruded on grief before.
An hour after she'd spoken to me, the mother and the child stepped on a landmine, died instantly.
She knew the landmine was there.
Did you explain this to Joanna?
Well, I'd already filed it, but she promised she wouldn't use it. And then she went ahead and published it anyway. I can't explain it, but it felt like a real betrayal. Since then, I found it impossible to trust anyone. I'm really sorry I didn't trust you.
It's all right. It's all right.
Now, you always frown before you smile. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Okay, slow down. It's Sarah Armstrong, the pathologist from the Wilson inquest. Are you sure? What now? Okay, we can meet you there. No, it's no problem. Yeah, we'll be there in half an hour. Fine, okay, bye.
Normal on the outside and burnt on the inside. The lab assistants have nicknamed him Microwave Man.
Who was he?
Philip Boyd, bigwig, the Nuclear Research Institute. He's got some police connections, too.
Chief Superintendent Gates.
That's the one. He turned up here earlier, said Boyd was a police matter, and the police pathologist should conduct the autopsy.
I take it you didn't agree?
Never come between a pathologist and a corpse.
How do you explain it?
I can't. Not yet. It was some sort of shock. I've never come across it before. His skin wasn't punctured. There's nothing broken. He wasn't injured.
Can we take a look at him?
Greg? What's going on?
I thought you knew the body was released to the police.
Wait a minute. You handed it over?
Yeah, about half an hour ago. I didn't have any choice.
I never authorized this.
Paperwork was in order. It was signed by the coroner.
Greg!
So what do we do now?
We go public.
Do you mind telling me who gave permission to move Philip Boyd's remains?
I did.
I think you'd better sit down, Sarah.
Philip Boyd was working on the very edges of our understanding of nuclear fusion. We think he may have come into contact with certain materials that caused his body to react to the trauma of the accident in that unusual way.
Like the driver who stole your car?
We don't know that now, do we?
Well, I'm sure the lab cultures will help us explain the reaction.
I'm afraid, Miss Armstrong, your role in the post-mortem is over.
Hang on. 2 men implode after accidents, and you want me to pretend it hasn't happened?
Sarah.
I'll have to insist.
What is this?
The Official Secrets Act. You'll sign it, we'll witness it, and then we'll know where we stand.
And if someone asks about the autopsy I conducted?
Deny everything, admit nothing.
What if I don't sign?
What's the going rate for a struck-off pathologist these days?
Philip Boyd was a government scientist and a policy advisor. His special interest was the effects of mineral mining in the Antarctic and the breakdown of the treaty.
Was he for or against?
He was against all mineral mining until about 6 months ago. In fact, he and another top researcher pretty much had the whole argument sewn up.
So what happened to change his mind?
Oh, it might have been one of those accidents you're so fond of. The victimless deaths.
We were right, he'd been renewed. That would explain the autopsy results.
He'd been what?
He seems to die and then he comes back alive, renewed, changed.
He's changed, all right. His about turn allowed the British government to get into bed with the Yanks and screw the treaty, all ends up.
Can you get any more information?
Not today, I can't know. Computer's caught a cold, whole system's down.
You use Zentex?
Who doesn't?
You said there were 2 scientists opposing the breakdown of the Antarctic Treaty.
Yes. The other man's name is Gerald Ryle. He's senior at the Nuclear Research Institute. He's still calling for a reinstatement of the treaty and a ban on oil exploration. He's even threatening to take it to the UN.
Will he get anywhere?
Well, he can make a nuisance of himself. Slow down any expansion in the program, that sort of thing.
I think we may have found who the next target is. Can you get us an in with this Gerald Ryle character?
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm going to use my name and contact so you can go and ask this guy if he's seen any suspicious footprints at the bottom of the garden.
All right, look at it this way. If we get anything juicy, we give you an exclusive.
You always did know the way to my heart.
How long do you think you can carry on working here?
I'm sorry.
Well, you've threatened to go to the UN to get the Antarctic Treaty restored. Yet this place is the leading research institute for Antarctic gas and oil. It won't be easy to stay in a place where you're so out of step.
Oh, science is a history of debates, disagreements. It's how we progress.
This is more than a disagreement, isn't it? According to what you said on television, all our futures are at stake.
Look, will you stop sticking that blasted thing in my face?
Sorry, I didn't realise it was annoying you.
I'm not comfortable with all this business. Can we just get it over with?
Okay. We want to know if you've been threatened in any way.
Threatened? How do you mean?
Has any pressure been put upon you by, say, James Wilson?
I really have no idea what you're talking about.
Philip Boyd.
How dare you come in here and talk about Philip like that? Have you people no respect?
Listen.
You're not from a newspaper at all, are you?
Professor Ryle, we think you're in danger.
If you just let us explain.
I don't have the time. Just get out. Get out.
Professor Ryle.
No.
Hi, Jerry. Have the Philip Boyd tissue cultures been processed yet? No, there's no hurry. I need them. They weren't properly tagged. Yeah, I'll come and pick them up. Thanks.
conference in Brussels where there is some controversy about oil exploration.
There is certainly a deep division among the member states regarding the effect of oil exploration on this natural wasteland. Traditionally, the whole of the Antarctic has been regarded as a virtual no-go area for industrial development and an area of huge ecological importance. But after today's high-level conference, it would appear that after 40 years of cooperation, there are those now willing to take the risk. Britain now seems to be at the head of that group, with its territorial claims fully supported by the US government, and rumours of further cooperation and profit-sharing if and when these proposals are put into operation. Outside the conference, a few official voices have been heard in protest. But ironically, it is those self-same qualities which have made the Antarctic such a mecca for international scientists, which are now attracting the international fuel companies. Supporters of this initiative insist that there is a huge geological heritage waiting beneath the ice cap, a heritage which can only benefit the planet as a whole, and which will service its fuel needs well into the next millennium. In a world short on time, low on stocks, and hungry for energy, that is indeed a powerful argument. The pro-fuel lobby are offering computer projections and scientific fieldwork to back up their claims, but their opponents disagree. In an impromptu meeting earlier today, Greenpeace and other environmental groups warned that we exploit this wilderness at our peril.
Saline solution.
I think that's what killed him.
Wasn't given any other medicines, penicillin, painkillers.
Not unless the paramedics were lying to cover their backs, and they've got no reason to do that. He was picked up, seemed mildly concussed, no sign of any other injuries. They just followed standard practice. Oxygen, blood pressure reading, and put a line in to counter fluid loss.
Have you ever come across saline solution doing this before?
No, and I can't find any evidence of it happening anywhere else. First thing I did was to check his blood for antigens. It didn't correspond with any group. After that, I knew I was in for some more surprises.
What if he isn't human?
What?
That's why he reacted the way he did. That's why his blood group doesn't exist. Because he isn't human.
This is some sort of wind-up, right?
Look at the evidence.
I am. I shouldn't be showing you this. They're saying that he was exposed to some sort of radiation, like the Wilson case.
The cover-up, the reason he reacted the way he did is because he isn't human.
Blake, telephone call for you on line 1. Just pick it up.
Hello?
Steve, Gerald Ryle called. Something's happened. He's gone into hiding.
What?
He wants to meet you.
What now?
Seemed pretty urgent.
Okay, I'll be right there.
I don't know.
It must be this way.
Whatever the force that held me on that railway line, it was greater than my will. My body was no longer my own. Can't explain why it was happening.
I think I can.
When you came to me at the Institute, what made you think I was in danger?
Your colleagues. You were making a lot of noise opposing the breakdown of the Antarctic Treaty.
That was inconvenient to a group of very powerful people.
We'd seen how they'd been treated when they made similar objections.
You're suggesting that people I work with have been through similar experiences?
We're suggesting they didn't come through the other side like you did.
Well, I won't be any trouble to them anymore. I intend to resign.
You have to go back to work. Someone has to stay there to try and reverse the decision.
No, you don't understand. It's a free-for-all now. They've already moved on to nuclear testing.
Nuclear? That doesn't make any sense. What would be the point of a nuclear power station down there?
Not power, weapons. They're going to test nuclear weapons in the Antarctic.
Must be nice to have friends you can run away to.
The house belongs to my brother. I just needed to feel safe.
You're safe. Just keep your head down and don't agitate.
Until when?
Until you and I can get to the media.
You really think that's the only way?
I know it is.
All right.
I'll set it up.
From what Ra was saying, it sounds as if they started to accelerate. Are you sure we can't get at the computer software?
Well, how? No, our only hope is if Joanna can set up this TV interview with Ryle.
You all right, Steve?
I've got to get some air.
What if Joanna can't help us, Steve? We know what saline solution does to them. If we can attack someone at the heart of things, someone we can get access to, if Gates goes, then maybe we can cripple the whole network.
Well, you're suggesting we attack Gates?
He's the obvious target, and we know I can get close to him.
It's too dangerous. Now, you're not thinking rationally.
You think this is personal?
I know how much you want to destroy him. I understand how you might want to kill your husband's murderer.
This isn't to do with my past.
Isn't it?
No. Yes, I don't know.
Melissa, look, I know what you feel.
No, you don't know anything about me. You can't tell me how I feel. You can't tell me what I feel.
I'm going to pretend I don't know how you intend to use these. Do you really know what you're doing?
Turning back isn't an option. And I don't think you'd be helping us if you thought it was.
is the strongest concentration that we use. If my theory's correct, one syringe should be enough to do the damage. Either way, I don't recommend you hang around to see the result. Steve said something to me. He said these people, Boyd, Wilson, he said they weren't human. Do you believe that?
I believed it long before Steve.
Does that mean what you're doing isn't murder?
What I'm doing is necessary.
I've arranged to pick up Ryle, be on the safe side. He still needs a bit of persuading.
Can't blame him. It's not just his reputation he's risking, is it?
Look, Ryle's testimony really could be crucial. It could be the only thing we need.
We have to do all we can. Attack them with everything, exactly what they'll do to us if they get the opportunity.
I'll go.
Well, if I don't, everything that we've done will have been wasted.
I know. I'm still asking you not to go.
And do what? Pray this'll all go away. You have to remember why we started on all this.
Because then I had nothing to lose.
Now, you and Gerald Ryle need to be at the TV studio no later than 10:15. You go out live, so I hope you're feeling relaxed, confident. Try not to bite your nails.
I'll do my best.
Have you ever seen Mark Knowles' programme?
Once or twice.
He's something of a wet dream for the ABC ones, but he's good. He's tough and he's sarcastic, so you can expect a rough ride. I've told him you know what you're talking about.
Do you believe that?
You think I say what I actually believe? What kind of madness is this?
Oh, cut the crap. Do you believe this conspiracy exists outside my head?
I wouldn't have got you on this show if I didn't. I think more of you than that. I always did.
I thought for a moment you were going to stand me up.
I thought that was always more your trick, wasn't it? Thank you.
Drink?
Thank you, yes. I think I need one.
Oh, come on, I'm hardly going to buy it.
I'm sure you're not. I just know I've got a lot of apologising to do, that's all. The night Sweet Hope disappeared. That was the biggest thing that had ever happened to you, and I hadn't shared it with you.
And if you had, would it have made a difference?
I must have been jealous. I was outside all the fuss, the publicity. I felt excluded. I think that's when I started to make up stories.
How do I know you're not making up a story tonight?
What?
How do I know you've really changed your mind about me?
Because I'm not afraid of you anymore.
Here's to new beginnings.
Cheers.
It's good to see you.
Wish I could say the same.
Nobody tried to warn you off doing this?
No, they've been ominously quiet.
I still can't quite get over the suddenness of his change.
You got Steve Blake to thank for that.
Well, that's a turn-up. I thought he was too busy pouring poison into your ear. His conspiracy theories are even more fanciful than yours.
Or maybe it took someone as fanatical as Blake for me to realise how far from the truth I'd actually strayed. Pretty unflattering reflection.
And what made you so certain he was wrong?
All the stuff in the computer software factory. I mean, if anyone had wanted to destroy him, why didn't they do it there and then?
Exactly. Why didn't he just disappear in an accident, or get blasted by lasers, or whisked away by flying saucers?
When he couldn't explain it, I started to doubt myself. I didn't want to admit it at the time, but I knew I was wrong.
Yeah, well, the trouble with the Steve Blakes of this world is they're parasites, and they bleed hope from anybody they come into contact with. And the worst thing of all is they never know when they're dancing to someone else's tune.
What do you mean?
It's my theory that Steve Blake's being used, just as he was using you.
Well, now who's peddling conspiracies?
You don't honestly believe that Steve Blake is working alone. He's far too lightweight, too much of a loser. If he was a man alone, he'd be a fly that needed swatting.
It only takes one fanatic to change history, that's what you always used to say.
Well, Steve Blake's gonna change nothing.
Excuse me. I'll be back in a moment.
I thought I might turn up tonight and find you gone.
It crossed my mind.
Well, I'm glad you stayed put. May not feel like the right decision now, but I promise you it is.
The end of the world is debated on an upmarket chat show. If that's really what we've come to, it makes you wonder if we're worth saving, doesn't it?
I'll walk you to the car.
Never been one to refuse a police escort.
You know what hurt me most about your breakdown? I could see you were in pain, but I couldn't get through to you. Don't look so scared.
Am I? I'm sorry, Philip. I think things are moving too fast for me.
That's okay.
Oh, bloody keys. They must be in here somewhere.
They're all the same. Here, let me.
No, really, I can...
Later tonight, we hear from two men who will be making claims that could rock the government. They have evidence of a conspiracy that threatens each and every one of us. Or so they say. But first, a very different story. The government published a white paper today.
Ladies will look after you.
To its opponents will open the way to widespread pollution for water tables.
Good luck.
They're new sites for
Perhaps we don't need luck anymore.
recently from all sides of the house. But now it seems to have gained a remarkable new lease of life.
This is Sarah Armstrong. If Steve or Melissa are there, could you please call me as soon as possible? I'm at the Path Lab. It's urgent. Now, please call.
You're asking us to believe some incredible things here.
I agree. I think they're incredible too. Unfortunately, they happen to be true.
According to you. You took this photo underwater at Sweet Hope off the Norfolk coast. How long ago?
2 weeks.
But it's not there now.
No, an explosion destroyed the site straight after the dive.
That was rather unlucky, wasn't it?
It was deliberately detonated by a corrupt police officer from Central Operations, Chief Superintendent Philip Gates.
Well, I wish I was your lawyer, Steve, because I think that allegation just earned him a fortune. I mean, it seems to me you're accusing people on a terribly flimsy basis. What evidence have you got?
Well, out of the
We're matching shot.
122 survivors from Sweet Hope, parent survivors, over 60% of them are now in very, very high position.
Gallagher here.
Yeah. I would ask, who are these people?
Are you sure? When? Yes, yes, of course I'll talk to him. Check the PA, there's a big one breaking. Who? Yes, Dave Gallagher here. I understand. And where exactly are you at the moment?
What's going on?
Touch two.
Sure this isn't some firework fanatic's wet dream?
I doubt it. That was the county fire chief I was just speaking to. Is it through on the PA?
Yes, coming through now. This stuff's incredible.
Get onto the newsroom. I want personal confirmations, eyewitnesses, top-notch commentators, whoever you can get your hands on.
Somebody mind telling me
We
what's
need a
going on?
reporter. Who's up there?
John Davidson.
Get him down here fast. Yes.
Steve Blake's background is in newspapers. We're used to newspapers making things up. They do it every day. But scientists aren't in the habit of lying, are they, Mr. Ryle?
No, we wouldn't knowingly falsify results.
So when I was told that you, a senior government science advisor, were willing to come on national television to back up Steve Blake on the truth of this conspiracy, I sat up and took notice.
Back him up.
I understood there'd been an attempt on your life which convinced you that...
My car broke down on a level crossing. I panicked. I'd hardly call it an attempt on my life. Stupid, perhaps.
So you have doubts about Steve Blake's claims?
I have more than doubts. I refute his claims completely.
Steve, this is a man who's on your side.
Is this as staunch as your allies get? Well, he's obviously not an ally anymore. It's clear what's happened here. This is proof.
Why didn't Ryle
Proof of what,
bleed?
exactly? Proof that renewal
Why
is
didn't
an
Steve
ongoing
see
process.
Ryle bleed?
Renewal? What's renewal?
Replication, cloning, the changing, the alteration, the transferring of somebody.
Cloning?
Hello? How soon can we get someone there? Get someone there now.
So we interrupt Knowles, yeah? Media News reckon they've got the pictures.
How can they, unless they planted a frigging bomb?
I wouldn't put it past them.
John, you got the story?
Just a wire copy, yeah.
Have you read it?
I've read it, but I'm not sure I believe it.
Believe it. Here's the latest. It's still coming through. Can you handle it?
Sure.
Good, because we need you down on the studio floor now.
Okay. Dave, Media News offering the pictures 200,000.
Trust those bastards exclusively in the world. Yes, that's fine. I'm authorised.
Get Carol back in here as well, can you?
Soon are we going to get someone up there?
What, you volunteering to go and bathe in fallout, are you?
John!
So there is no conspiracy, Mr. Ryle?
None at all. I find it ludicrous. I know is that recent developments and research opportunities
Not
on
yet.
our Antarctic program have stirred up quite a bit of negative criticism, not always from entirely reputable sources. As scientists working at the very forefront of energy exploration, we've learned to expect a certain fanaticism from opponents who, quite frankly, would be more in favour of the dark ages. But this particular story of Mr. Blake's beggars even my belief.
Are you saying that Steve Blake is a fanatic?
Let's just say I think he's misled. Dangerously misled.
Steve, you heard that accusation?
This is rubbish. This is rubbish.
I've got Mary Madigan on line 3. She's prepared to make
What
a
are we
statement.
going to do without pictures? Got a feeling an artist's impression of a nuclear meltdown isn't going to play.
We've got them. Norfolk Police Chief. They're piping them down.
Yes!
Let's see what we've got. Costs us an arm and a leg, but hey, no party without punch.
That's some punch.
You might as well say that the people who were connected with the Kennedy assassination mysteriously died within 10 years afterwards. If you look at this statistically, you'll find
Okay.
this is not
Interrupt Knowles.
coincidental.
They got you, didn't they?
I don't know what you're talking about.
If we could just get back to the subject under discussion.
How did they find you? I should never have left you on your own.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to interrupt you for an important news flash. Apparently there's been a serious accident at Sizewell Nuclear Power Station. John Davidson has the story.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, early reports are still coming in of a major incident at the Sizewell B reactor in Suffolk. Eyewitnesses talk about a huge fireball erupting into the sky at about 10:44 this evening.
Okay.
Nobody knows yet the cause of the explosion, but the police haven't ruled out a terrorist attack. The risk from radioactive fallout is thought to be minimal, as long as sensible precautions are
Would you
taken.
like to come back to the room?
Police are advising those within a 50-mile limit to stay indoors, but emphasise that the situation is containable.
Yeah, the bastards finally got it, didn't they?
Let's just say I can see things for what they are.
And this is part of it, is it?
A small step in the right direction. This is your wake-up call. Disconnect this one.
The emergency services are out in force and are struggling to control the blaze.
Yeah. Steve, where are you?
Yeah, I'm here now. Are you watching?
Yeah. It's Gates.
I thought he was dead. I thought you'd killed him.
So did I. Steve, listen. Sarah Armstrong's been on the phone. She says she's got the answer. She's discovered where we're going wrong.
Yeah, well, we don't need her to tell us we brought the sky down upon us.
You think they blew up Sizewell out of revenge?
I don't know. Listen, I'll meet you at Sarah's as soon as I can. There's someone I've got to see first.
Who?
Joanna. She's the only one who can help us now.